Hi, my name is Nate, and I'm 15 years old. A couple of years ago, my family moved to a new place, and I had to start going to a new school. Since then, I'd had to constantly lie to my parents that everything was fine, when in reality, I didn't have any friends at all. I was shy and reserved, so making friends was very hard for me. My story began the day I found a strange envelope on my doorstep. But before I tell it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. To be honest, at first, I didn't pay much attention to the envelope. I didn't have any friends, so no one could have sent me anything. I picked it up and wanted to take it to my parents already, when all of a sudden, I saw my name on the back. Inside the envelope was a letter written in sloppy handwriting, but all I could focus on were the photos in which I was standing, with a cigarette in my hand. They had been made at a summer camp I had gone to a couple of months before that. The letter said from then on I had to follow the instructions of the anonymous sender, otherwise my parents would see those photos. Frightened and angry, I looked around and saw a red hair of someone hiding behind the hedge of our neighbor's house. I rushed at them, hoping to expose the mysterious anonymous, but it was too late. The thing with cigarettes, it was stupid. To be honest, I didn't even smoke. I had just tried it at camp and hadn't liked it. However, someone had still managed to take those stupid photos. However, explaining that to my parents would have been pointless, so it seemed like I didn't have any choice at all. I found my first task in the school locker the next day. During the lunch break, I had to sit down and start a conversation with the popular guys. It might seem like not much, but I was paralyzed with horror. I first made a few rounds with trays around the dining room. I was sure that everyone would look at me like a fool and tell me to get lost. However, my classmates looked more surprised than annoyed. "Wow, look who it is! What are you doing here all of a sudden?" asked one of the girls, Millie. "Is this seat taken?" "I just wanted to chat." I had to make an effort to keep my voice from trembling with nerves. Millie seemed to be the friendliest. She started to ask me all sorts of questions. Then the rest of the guys joined her. "Hey, do you want to hang out after school? We were going to watch Venom, Let There Be Carnage again. Why don't you come with us?" I can't. I have to do my homework. Sorry." Before they could object, I jumped up from the table and practically ran out of the dining room. I could no longer fight the inexplicable fear, but the most important thing was that I had to complete the task. The second note was waiting for me in the school locker the very next day. I was sure now that the mysterious letter sender definitely went to the same school as me. As I was looking around, I noticed a red-haired guy not far away. Well, this seems suspicious, I thought, but didn't have time to do something as I had to hurry to class. For the second task, I had to join a school club. But the thing was, even thinking about it made my palms sweat and my mouth dry. After classes, I went to look at the bulletin board. I'd always liked doing sports and wanted to find an athletic club, but I didn't see a single sport club there, so I had to join a drama one in the end. The auditions were held in the main school hall. I had to go on stage and recite a text. I was sure that everyone would laugh at me. Only one thought gave me confidence. The guys the day before had been very friendly. What if everything didn't turn out awful after all? "Though that are now the world's fresh ornament." I spoke the memorized lines with my eyes closed in horror at first. When I finally decided to open them, I saw that everyone around me was looking at me with curiosity. Not one even thought to laugh. After the auditions, one of the high school students came up to me. "You were so cool up there. We should give you the main role in the next school play." It was terribly nice to hear that. For a brief second, I even wanted to agree. But then, as always, I got scared and ran away. After all, my task had only been to join a club, not to be its active member. The next day, there was no new letter in my locker. I let out a sigh of relief, thinking that the anonymous person had grown tired of messing with me. However, when I started taking notebooks out of my backpack, a piece of paper fell to my feet. I knew who it was from at once. I started looking around and noticed the familiar red hair in the doorway. Without thinking twice, I rushed after my tormentor and, in the hallway, pinned him to the wall. "Do you think it's funny? What are you doing? Enough of your stupid tasks already." In response, the red-haired stranger looked at me fearfully, as if I was crazy. "Have you lost your mind? I have no idea what you're talking about. Let me go." He broke free and ran away, and I was left standing in the hallway. My next task was to organize some kind of event at the school. That was too much for me. Terribly angry, I tore up the letter and stomped it into the ground. I went home fully determined to tell my mother about the cigarettes. I'd rather be grounded than continue to dance to someone else's tune. But the thing was, when I came up to our door, I saw that it was covered with photos of me. They showed everything I had done over the past few months I could possibly be punished for. Skipping classes, cheating, sneaking out of home at night. Someone had collected a whole dossier on me. My parents definitely couldn't see those photos. My mysterious anonymous blackmailer left me no choice again. I spent the next few days trying to figure out what kind of event I wanted to organize. I ended up choosing sports games. To my surprise, printing leaflets and then hanging them around the school was not all that scary. I was hardly even worried. First of all, I thought no one would come anyway. And secondly, the previous week showed that no one wanted to bully me. My classmates seemed like good people. At the appointed time, I came to the gym, and at first, I couldn't believe my eyes. A whole crowd of people had gathered there. One of my classmates, Simon, ran up to me. "This is so cool! We've dreamed of having a sports club for so long, but no one set it up." When I asked who wanted to judge the competitions, I saw a bunch of hands fly up. Almost everyone wanted to help me somehow. A little later, I suggested doing a warm-up. Everyone repeated my movements without taking their eyes off of me. It was so much fun. In the back rows of the crowd, I noticed the red-haired guy I already knew. I didn't do anything about it and just thought to myself, how does he know what I'm talking about? He must have come to see me fulfilling the task. We took turns organizing different competitions, running, throwing balls into the basket, doing push-ups, squats. Then someone suggested going to the backyard of their house to the pool. There, we competed to see who swam the fastest, and also found ropes and arranged funny contests with girls on the roof. I also decided to take part in the games, and to my surprise, stopped feeling shy at all. The next day at school was a completely unique experience for me. I walked down the hallway and everyone greeted me, smiled, waved their hands. Simon ran up to me again. "It's so cool you finally opened up. When you transferred to our school, we wanted to get to know you, but you were so sullen that everyone felt afraid of you." His words shocked me. I never would have thought of that, but he continued. "By the way, do you want to lead sports club on a permanent basis? Everyone really liked it yesterday." Once again, I was so shocked I didn't know what to tell him. After Simon had left for class, I took out a letter from my locker with my final task. Now I had to come to a party a popular girl called Millie was throwing. A couple of weeks ago, such a task would have terrified me. I wouldn't have dared do it. But now, holding the letter in my hands, I suddenly realized that I wanted to do it. Maybe I could finally make friends with someone. The party turned out to be quite small. There were almost no people there, but I still had a lot of fun. Simon and I were having a great time, and then, in the crowd, I saw that red-haired guy. Without thinking twice, I walked up to him. "Listen, you don't have to lie to me anymore. I know you've been sending the letters to me this whole time, and, I wanted to thank you. They turned out to be very useful. Except, once again, the guy was looking at me like I was crazy, and then a hand fell on my shoulder. I turned around and saw Millie smiling. She pulled my sleeve and led me somewhere. When we were out in the courtyard, I heard a loud chorus. Surprise! A bunch of students rushed to hug and shake me. Everyone was smiling at me, looking very pleased. The party turned out to be much bigger than I had thought at first. Completely at a loss, I looked at Millie. "Well, what are you staring at? This party, by the way, is in your honor. We're really glad you stopped being so sulky and even organized such a cool competition." The surprises, however, did not end there. A little later, Millie took me aside and said in a quiet, timid voice, "Listen, here's the thing. It was me who sent you those letters with the tasks." Of course! How could I not have guessed right away? Millie was also a redhead, and it had been her I had seen twice, first near my house and then in the classroom. And that other dude had just been around at the wrong time both times. Seeing my confusion, the girl continued. "Please don't be mad. It's just, to be honest, I've always really liked you. I've tried so many times to come up and talk to you. I've tried everything, but you always just left. That's why when I saw you at the camp, I immediately came up with a plan." I felt very confused. Half an hour ago, I wanted to thank the mysterious anonymous sender, but now I finally looked into her eyes and felt angry. After all, doing those tasks had been so incredibly hard for me. Millie had literally blackmailed me. She had no right to do that. At that moment, Millie held out her hand to look at me with pleading eyes. I finally plucked up the courage, took her hand, and told her I wasn't angry at all. After all, her shock therapy had done me good. My life will never be the same again, and that's for the best.
This is the SCP Foundation, a secret organization that finds and studies anomalous objects all over the planet. These are the Foundation's secret files. You may already be familiar with them. And these are the stories of ordinary people who got lucky to encounter the most horrifying creatures in the world. The SCP Chronicles reveal new details about the anomalous objects you didn't know before.